everyone, welcome back to Velvet Moments. Before we begin, let me ask you one question. Since when has a military service story felt more romantic than a Korean drama? Today we're diving into scenes from Are You Sure? An episode that may seem ordinary on the surface, almost uneventful. But if you look closely, it reveals something far deeper. The closeness between Jimin and Jungkook. A closeness they never openly explain, yet always show through their actions. From the small habits they built during military service, from glances they can't quite hide, to one single gesture that shook the internet. A soft kiss Jungkook placed on the letter J. It all begins with something as simple as cooking and washing dishes, and ends with one of the quietest, yet strongest messages they have ever sent to the world. But before we get there, we need to go back to the beginning, to the small moments they shared, especially during their time in the military. A period most people associate with hardship, exhaustion, and rigid routines far removed from anything romantic. Yet for Jikook, that was exactly where their dynamic became most visible, shaped not by words but by habits that cannot be faked. It starts with a simple scene. Jimin washing dishes. Jungkook cooking. Casually Jimin says, "That's how we were in the military. Jungkook cooked and I washed the dishes." The sentence sounds light, almost passing. But the way he says it feels deeply familiar, like someone recalling a routine that once belonged naturally to their everyday life. It doesn't feel like a scripted show moment. It feels like muscle memory. One cooks, the other cleans, a perfect rhythm without instruction. After the meal, Jungkook adds something that instantly changes the atmosphere. "In the military, I liked feeding Jimin." First, it sounds simple. But for anyone who knows them, Jungkook's care for Jimin has never been subtle. He has a very specific way of protecting the people he loves, making sure Jimin eats, doesn't overwork himself, and stays comfortable even in the hardest conditions. This isn't fan service. It isn't dramatization. It's instinct. That habit didn't end with military service. Jungkook still tries to control Jimin's diet, though he almost always fails because he can't stand seeing Jimin hold back from eating. Jimin even teases him, saying, "He tells me to diet, but he's also the one who invites me to eat food that's clearly not on the diet menu." This playful push and pull, teasing yet caring, shows how deeply Jungkook knows him. Jimin's habits, his likes, even his weaknesses. The most touching part, however, comes from Jimin's story about their KCTC training, one of the harshest military exercises. Days without showering. Narrow sleeping spaces. Dirty bodies. Constant rain. Barely any proper facilities. Jimin shared that he hadn't showered for 5 days, and when he finally could, he scrubbed himself hard, as if trying to wash away all the exhaustion at once. In the middle of that chaos, Jimin felt a gaze. When he turned around, he saw Jungkook standing there with his meal, quietly watching him without blinking. Jimin laughed as he recalled scrubbing himself so hard it felt like he was peeling his skin off. Jungkook laughed too, but from the way he laughed you could tell he remembered every detail. He said Jimin was too enthusiastic, but his tone wasn't teasing. It was the voice of someone who notices everything, especially when it comes to someone important. Jimin thought many people were watching him at that moment. But Jungkook corrected him immediately. "Not them. Only me." And with that sentence, everything changed. Picture it. Dozens of soldiers in a rough military bathroom, exhausted and dirty. Yet among all of them, the only person Jungkook truly saw was Jimin. He stood there quietly, eating slowly, as if he didn't want to miss a single detail. There was something gentle yet intense in that confession. Not the kind of attention that happens by chance, but the kind that comes from emotional attachment. Jungkook admitted he felt sorry for Jimin. He knows how much Jimin values cleanliness and comfort. Seeing him so vulnerable, wet, tired, shivering, made Jungkook look at him with a depth of concern words could never fully express. And Jimin's reaction? He said Jungkook's gaze felt like an electric shock. Not an ordinary look, but the look of someone who knows you completely, and places you in a space separate from everyone else. That's Jikook. Even in the simplest stories, their bond feels bigger than anything they try to explain. They always find each other, watch over each other, protect each other. From cooking together to feeding one another to silent eye contact in the harshest military conditions, every moment paints the same picture. Their connection is real, consistent, and built from everyday habits. And then, after all that quiet intimacy, the world was shaken by one unexpected gesture. Jungkook kissing the letter J. Rumors about Jungkook come and go. Secret relationships, edited photos, twisted narratives. ARMY is used to it. But no one expected the strongest response to come in such a small, subtle form. That night, Jungkook didn't deny anything. He didn't give a long explanation. He did what he has always done, he spoke through action. He pointed to the letter J in his name, leaned in and kissed it softly. In an instant everything froze. The internet stopped. And ARMY knew, this was not accidental. That letter carries a long history in his life. It appears in tattoos, signatures and small symbols he's created over time. And the gentle smile that followed, one not meant for the camera, felt deeply personal. Not for the public. Not for rumors. For someone. ARMY remembered Jungkook once saying that a single letter can mean everything to someone. They remembered Jimin's expression every time that initial was mentioned. Suddenly it all connected. Just days after rumors tried to create distance between them, Jungkook answered with one soft but firm gesture. A kiss that shattered every lie. If Jimin saw that moment, and we know he always watches Jungkook, he would understand it instantly without a single word. It felt like a message meant only for him. I'm here. I'm still looking at you. Their relationship doesn't need proof. It doesn't need clarification. They don't act. They don't perform. They simply exist as they are, and that honesty says everything. Because to outsiders, a small kiss on a letter may seem meaningless. But to ARMY it's a symbol. And to Jungkook it's human. A message that isn't loud or dramatic but sincere, meant only for the person who holds that special place. The one whose name begins with the letter he kissed. And that's how, from simple military routines to silent gazes during brutal training, to one small kiss that left the entire fandom breathless, we are reminded once again that Jikook never needed words to define their bond. They don't need to deny rumors. They don't need to prove anything. Because real connections are shown through actions. Who you look for first, who you protect and who you choose, even when the world is watching. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe and turn on notifications. There are still so many Jikook moments waiting to be explored. Moments that make you curious and fall in love all over again. See you in the next video. This is Velvet Moments, where the smallest details speak louder than words.